What in the world is a compound pharmacy? Why do they exist? And most of all, are their weight loss medications safe? Let's talk about it. My name is Dr. G, and I'm an internal medicine physician in Hollywood, Florida, with a special interest in lifestyle modification coaching and patient education. Before we get started, let's take a second to talk about this video's sponsor and a special offer just for you. If you follow my channel, you already know quite a lot about semaglutide, the active ingredient in Wegovy and Ozempic. And you definitely know it's become a game changer for weight loss. You also know semaglutide can not only get quite expensive, but also extremely hard to find with or without insurance, and competent support while taking the meds is simply not common. This can make your weight loss journey on semaglutide very inconsistent and sometimes tougher than it needs to be. That's where Levity excels. Levity is a service that removes the worry about costs and availability of medications by sourcing semaglutide from only the best certified compounding pharmacies in the US, and by quickly and reliably delivering semaglutide directly to your door for 80% less than some of their competitors. You will get a Levity box just like this one, with the semaglutide safely shipped with ice packs and instructions to get you started. As I got to know their service, I was most impressed with Levity's quality medications, customer service, and reliability for sure. So let's take a look inside the box. Got this box, the house, and protected the meds. Comes into this sealed packaging, keeps it cool. Ice pack, another ice pack, and the medications. Safe. A 1 ml vial of 2.5 milligrams of semaglutide. Just perfect. I think they did a lot with the packaging. Pretty cool. So if you want to get started with Levity, go ahead and jump on this special offer. Use my code DRG50, that's Dr. G50, at checkout to get $50 off your first month of semaglutide with the Levity service. Order now to get your Levity box of semaglutide today by using the link in the description below. So let's get to it. Compounding pharmacies have long been an integral part of healthcare, offering customized solutions to patients with unique medical needs. Unlike retail pharmacies that dispense mass-produced medications, compounding pharmacies create medications tailored to individual requirements, filling an important gap in the healthcare system. Over the last several years, the popularity and role of compounding pharmacies has become increasingly significant, particularly in relation to GLP-1 agonist medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide especially. These drugs are used to treat type 2 diabetes, and more recently, and probably a little bit more well-known for their amazing ability to treat obesity, helping patients achieve massive weight loss in many cases. As the popularity of GLP-1 agonists has grown, driven by their efficacy in controlling blood sugar and promoting weight loss through appetite suppression, many patients have found themselves unable to afford the brand name versions of these medications, such as Zepbound and Wegovy. Coupled with the shortage and lack of availability of the branded meds, this has led to many folks turning to compounding pharmacies, and which offer much more affordable alternatives by customizing formulations, adjusting dosages, or combining medications to control side effects. However, while compounding pharmacies play a crucial role in expanding access to treatment, they also face scrutiny, rightfully so, over regulatory concerns, quality control, and safety issues. Given the lack of common knowledge of compound pharmacies in general amongst both medical and non-medical folks, let's take a deeper dive into this complex world of this option for medicine, tracing their history a little bit and evolving role in US healthcare, with a particular focus on their impact on GLP-1 agonist medications. We're going to explore both the positive and negative consequences of compounding pharmacies in the community, and we're going to examine how they provide access and affordability, but also posing challenges in terms of safety and oversight. And furthermore, we will compare the functions of compounding pharmacies with retail pharmacies, highlighting both their similarities and their significant differences. Ultimately, the goal here is to provide a nuanced understanding of the role of compounding pharmacies and the role they play in modern healthcare, with specific attention to GLP-1 agonists, their importance in the treatment of chronic diseases, and identify possible pitfalls for patient safety. Compounding, as it's called, has its roots in the earliest days of medicine. Historically, pharmacists were responsible for actually creating medications from raw materials, crafting remedies that were tailored to the specific needs of individual patients. And this practice has been a cornerstone of medical treatment for thousands of years, dating back to the ancient civilizations such as ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Early pharmacists often were referred to as apothecaries, and they worked closely in collaboration with physicians preparing customized medications from herbs and minerals and animal products and plants and things around us in nature. In the United States, the practice of compounding has been vital since the 18th and 19th centuries when mass production of medications were not yet available. Each pharmacy served as a mini laboratory of sorts where pharmacists mixed ingredients to create ointments and pills and tinctures to treat a wide range of ailments. And as pharmaceutical manufacturing advanced, compounding became less common, but it remained an essential service for patients with specific needs that could not be met by commercial medications. The regulation of compounding pharmacies has historically been a patchwork of federal and state laws. In the early 20th century, the advent of mass production of medications led to increased oversight of the pharmaceutical industry by the federal government, particularly with the passage of the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906 and later the Federal Drug and Cosmetic Act of 1938. These laws were designed to ensure the safety and efficacy of medications, but compounding pharmacies largely remained under the purview of each state boards of pharmacy. And the regulatory landscape for compounding pharmacies changed significantly following several high-profile incidents that raised concerns about the safety of compounding medications. And the most notable of these incidents occurred not too long ago in 2012 when contaminated steroid injections produced by the New England Compound Center, is also known as the NECC, led to a deadly fungal meningitis outbreak. And the NECC disaster, which resulted in 64 deaths and hundreds of illnesses, highlighted the risks associated with poor quality control and inadequate oversight in some compounding facilities. In response to this, Congress passed the Drug Quality and Security Act in 2013, which created a new category of compounding facilities known as outsourcing facilities. And these facilities are subject to FDA oversight and must comply with good manufacturing practices, which are actually designed to ensure the quality and safety of the medications they produce. However, the traditional compounding pharmacies, which create medications for individual patients based on prescriptions, continue to be primarily regulated by the state boards of pharmacy. And today, compounding pharmacies play an important role, but specialized role in the United States healthcare system. They provide essential services for patients who cannot be treated with mass-produced medications due to personal allergies or sensitivities or the need for specific dosages or formulations that aren't available in the mass production. And this is particularly relevant in areas such as pediatric care, where commercially available medications may not be suitable for children, and in pain management and dermatology. There's a lot of them in hormone replacement therapy. The rise of personalized medicine has also fueled renewed interest in compounding pharmacies today as more patients seek tailored treatments that are customized to their unique genetic or biochemical and lifestyle factors. In this way, compounding pharmacies continue to fill the original mission of pharmacy and medicine for that matter, and that is to create medications and treatments plans that are specifically designed for the individual patient. Glucagon-like Peptide 1, GLP-1 agonists, are a class of medications we talk about here on this channel a lot that have revolutionized the treatment of type 2 diabetes. And these medications, which mimic the action of GLP-1 hormone, help regulate blood sugar levels by stimulating insulin secretion and inhibiting glucagon release, slowing down the gastric emptying, and regulating hunger. And the first GLP-1 agonist was exenatide, or Byetta, which was FDA approved in 2005. And since then, we've had other GLP-1 agonists, most notably liraglutide, which is Victoza, semaglutide, which is Ozempic and Wegovy, tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro and Zepbound, and all of these have become widely used across the US and beyond. So in the recent years, GLP-1 agonists have also gained attention for their ability to promote weight loss and leading to the development of medications specifically approved for weight loss managed by the FDA. And two of these are Wegovy and Zepbound. And these drugs have been shown to produce significant weight loss in clinical trials, making them an attractive option for patients struggling with obesity since previous medications have been mostly racked with terrible side effects and ineffectiveness at best. So one of the major challenges associated with GLP-1 agonists right now is their costs. Brand name GLP-1 agonists like Zepbound and Wegovy have been prohibitively expensive for many patients, with their prices often exceeding $1,000 per month without insurance. So while some insurance do cover the medications, many patients are left paying high out-of-pocket costs, particularly if they are GLP-1 agonists on the medication for weight loss, because it's not covered by the insurance. In the wake of the GLP-1 agonist shortage, compound pharmacies have attempted to provide a more affordable option or alternative to some patients. They've done this by creating compounding versions of the GLP-1 agonists, and these pharmacies can offer a lower cost option that are tailored to the specific needs of the individual patient. And this cost savings measure can make a significant difference for patients who are struggling to manage their diabetes or wanting to lose a significant amount of weight but can't afford the high price of commercially available medications. One of the key advantages of compounding pharmacies is the context of GLP-1 agonists is their ability to create custom formulations. And for patients who are unable to tolerate certain fillers that they put into the manufactured medications or inactive ingredients found in the commercially available GLP-1 agonists, the compound pharmacies can create medications that are free from the allergens or other problematic substances. Additionally, compounding pharmacies can also adjust the dosage of GLP-1 agonists to meet the specific needs of patients, providing a little bit more flexibility than the mass-produced medications, and in some cases, actually greatly reducing the chances of unwanted side effects. The customization that can lead to improved patient compliance and better healthcare outcomes. Patients who are able to take these medications that are tailored to their individual needs are more likely to adhere to their treatment regimen, which can lead to better control of blood sugar levels and more successful weight loss. One of the most significant positive impacts of compounding pharmacies is their ability to increase accessibility to medications that are not commercially available. So for patients who require specialized treatments that can't be found in large retail pharmacies, compounding pharmacies provide a lifeline. So this is especially true for our patients with rare conditions or allergies, like I said before, or those who require pediatric dosing that is not available through standard pharmaceutical manufacturers. So in this context, again, GLP-1 agonists do offer an alternative for patients who cannot afford the high cost of brand name medications and provide compounded versions that are better suited to each individual's needs. So compounding pharmacies play an essential role in filling gaps in traditional healthcare system. While large retail pharmacies focus on mass-produced medications, compound pharmacies cater to patients with unique needs that cannot be met by standard drugs. So what are some of the negative impacts and controversies surrounding compound pharmacies? Let's start with the regulatory concerns. Despite the benefits compounding pharmacies do offer, regulatory concerns pose significant challenges. While compounding pharmacies are vital in creating personalized treatments, they are often subject to less rigorous oversight than pharmaceutical manufacturers. Compounding pharmacies that create medications for individual patients based on prescriptions are primarily regulated by state pharmacy boards, which can lead to inconsistencies in regulatory practices across states from state to state. So unlike large pharmaceutical companies that are subject to strict federal regulations by the FDA and must undergo extensive testing for safety and efficacy, traditional compounding pharmacies do not need to meet the same federal requirements. The lack of federal oversight has led to concerns about the quality and safety of compound medications, especially with the complex drugs that they are, the GLP-1 agonist medications. And there are worries that some compound versions of these medications may not meet the same quality standards as FDA-approved medications, raising the risk for contamination, incorrect dosages, or reduced efficacy. So the 2012 NECC meningitis outbreak that I talked about before serves as a stark reminder for the potential dangers associated with insufficient regulation. And although outsourcing facilities, larger scale compounding pharmacies regulated by the FDA, they exist to mitigate these risks, but most traditional compounding pharmacies are not subject to such stringent oversight. So let's talk about the quality and safety issues for compound pharmacies. The variability in quality and safety of compounded medications remains a major concern, especially when it comes to complex medications like GLP-1 agonists. While many compound pharmacies maintain high standards of practice, there's always a risk of inconsistency. And this is in the quality of the compound drugs due to variations in training from facility to facility and quality control procedures. Without strict regulatory standards, the potential for contamination or errors in dosage is a bit higher than, in other pharmacies that are federally regulated. So the medications must be prepared with precision. Contaminated or improperly prepared medications can lead to a serious health risk for patients, including infections or ineffective treatments. And in the case of GLP-1 agonists, incorrect dosages can actually result in poor management of diabetes or weight loss, or in more serious complications like hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia or gastroparesis that we've seen before. And moreover, as compounded medications are not subject to the same clinical trials as FDA-approved medications, there's a greater degree of uncertainty about whether they are as safe or efficacious as their counterparts. And this may undermine patient trust in the treatments. There's also an issue with lack of standardization, as one of the main issues that compound pharmacy have is that they lack standardization across the industry. And because compounding is a highly individualized process, medications are prepared on a case-by-case basis, meaning that patients might receive slightly different formulations of the same medication depending on the pharmacy they use. So this lack of uniformity can actually pose challenges for healthcare providers who may struggle to ensure consistent treatment outcomes when using compounded medications. So the absence of standardized framework also makes it difficult to monitor and enforce quality control across the compounding industry itself. And these inconsistencies in the preparation of GLP-1 agonists, for example, could lead to variations in the potency and the stability of the actual drug, or the bioavailability, how available and it works in the body, and the effectiveness of the medication overall. So for patients relying on GLP-1 medications for diabetes and weight loss, this may pose a great concern. So some of the legal and ethical concerns: compounding pharmacies operate in a legal gray area when it comes to certain types of medications, particularly those that are also available as brand name drugs. And while it is legal for compounding pharmacies to create personalized versions of medications that are not commercially available or suitable for a particular patient, some critics are arguing that these certain compounding practices come close to replicating generic versions of the actually patented drugs, which raises ethical and legal questions. For instance, compounded versions of the GLP-1 agonists may be offered at a lower cost than the branded counterparts, which could be seen as undercutting pharmaceutical companies that have invested sometimes millions and billions of dollars into the research and development of these drugs. And this has led to tensions between the actual compounding pharmacies and the pharmaceutical companies, with the latter arguing that some compounded medications infringe on their intellectual property rights. Additionally, there's a concern that some compounding pharmacies may be operating beyond their intended scope by actually producing more quantities of medications without individual prescriptions, which could blur the line between compounding and traditional drug manufacturing. So that needs to be, looked at very closely. Let's take a look at the comparison of compounding pharmacies with the actual retail pharmacies themselves. There's a difference in the actual service model, and one of the significant differences between the compounding pharmacies and large retail pharmacies is the service model. So retail pharmacies such as CVS or Walgreens that we see at almost every corner, they focus on dispensing mass-produced, FDA-approved medications. And these medications are manufactured by larger pharmaceutical companies and are standardized in terms of dosage, ingredients, and formulation. And retail pharmacies operate on a high volume model where they're serving millions of patients with prepackaged medications that are widely available across the country. In contrast, compounding pharmacies offer a more personalized approach. Their focus is more on creating customized medications tailored to the specific needs of individual patients, so smaller batches of medications. This might involve altering the dosages some or changing delivery methods, such as turning a pill into a liquid form for a patient who has difficulty swallowing or can't swallow pills, or combining multiple medications to a single formulation for convenience for a patient. Because of their customized service, compounding pharmacies tend to operate on a smaller scale than retail pharmacies and often require more direct interaction between the actual pharmacist and the patient, or the doctor or healthcare provider. There's differences in accessibility and affordability, obviously. In terms of accessibility, large retail pharmacies have a distinct advantage due to their scale and nationwide presence, and patients can easily access medications from retail pharmacies, which are often located in close proximity to urban and rural areas alike. So retail pharmacies also tend to accept a wide range of insurance plans, making them more affordable for patients who actually have prescription drug coverage. Compound pharmacies, on the other hand, may not be as easily accessible, especially in the rural or underserved areas. And additionally, because compounded medications are customized and are not mass produced, they are often not covered by insurance, which can make them more expensive for patients depending on what the formulation is, what the medication is. However, in the case of GLP-1 agonists, compounded versions of these medications can actually offer significant cost savings compared to their brand name counterparts, right now, particularly for those whose insurance do not cover these medications. So let's look at regulation and oversight of these compounding pharmacies. And one of the key differences between the compounded pharmacies and the retail pharmacies is the level of regulation and oversight on a federal level that they are subject to. Retail pharmacies, which dispense FDA-approved medications, must adhere to strict regulations governing the storage, the handling, and dispensing of the medications. And the medications they provide have undergone rigorous clinical trials and are subject to ongoing monitoring for safety and efficacy. Compounding pharmacies, on the other hand, are primarily regulated by state pharmacy boards with less oversight from the FDA. While outsourcing pharmacies are actually subject to FDA regulation, traditional compounding pharmacies are not required to follow the same standards as a large pharmaceutical manufacturer. And this difference in regulation has led to some concerns about the quality and safety of the compounded medications, particularly when they are used as alternatives to the actually FDA-approved drugs like GLP-1 agonists. And this, quite honestly, is where most bad experiences happen with respect to some shady compound pharmacies. Lack of oversight in the wrong situation leads to cutting corners for whatever reasons and can put patients' lives at risk. And this is a major reason compounded pharmacies get a bad rap when most are actually doing the right thing by their patients, some are not. Still, making sure that the compound pharmacy is legit is actually the most important step in choosing the safest compounded pharmacy for your actual needs. So to avoid falling victim to a counterfeit compounding pharmacy, so here are 3 essential tips that I actually recommend. Number 1, verify their accreditation. Ensure that the pharmacy is accredited by reputable organizations such as the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board. Accreditation ensures that the pharmacy actually adheres to industry standards and follows good compounding practices. Point number 2, check for licensing and FDA compliance. Don't just blindly trust that you are getting a compounded pharmacy that's, accredited. Confirm that the compounding pharmacy is properly licensed by the state pharmacy board, and if applicable, registered as an FDA-compliant outsourcing facility. You can actually check the FDA's website for a list of registered facilities. I'll put the link down below. And number 3, consult with your healthcare provider. Always consult with your doctor or healthcare provider when using a compounded medication. They can actually recommend a trusted pharmacy that they use on a regular basis and know that they're consistent and doing the right thing by their medication and reaching and actually meeting the industry standards that are necessary. Well, that's all you need to know about compounded pharmacies and whether or not the one you are using will keep you safe and keep your safety at the top of their list of priorities. Do not forget, if you would like a one-on-one lifestyle modification coaching with me, you can contact me at the office. We can talk about things like this and get you on the right track for your lifestyle modification journey. The info is in the description below where you can contact and set up your appointment. See you soon.